Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, 5 months ago, we talked about Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And I said the story of Sayyidina Musa, and I said that there is 2 stories that I did not mention that I will cover in future dates. And today, inshallah, we'll cover one of those stories. The story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and his meeting with Sayyidina Khidr and his travel with him. It's a very interesting story, and it's full of lessons and wisdom. And we know the story from the Quran and from the hadith for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, once Moses stood up and addressed Bani Israel, the children of Israel. So when he was talking, one of the children of Israel asked him, who is the most knowledgeable person? So Sayyidina Musa answered, I am. He's a prophet. So he said, I am. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to teach him and to make him understand this world and to be a better prophet. So what did he tell him? Particularly that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, and over everyone with knowledge, there is one more knowing. Everyone. So if you take the best doctor in the United States, he's going to tell you, I'm the best doctor. Maybe there is a better doctor in England, maybe one in Australia, maybe one in Russia. There is always somebody better than you. And even if not in your field, maybe you're the best doctor, but you can't fix your car. So you need somebody with more knowledge to fix your car. And above every human being, there is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Alim, the all-knowing. So nobody ever should say, I am the most knowledgeable person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him in the hadith, at the junction of the 2 seas, where 2 seas will connect, there is a servant of mine who is more knowledgeable than you. So Sayyidina Musa became excited. He said, oh my Lord, how can I meet him? Sayyidina Musa want to learn. He's not saying, I'm a prophet, I'm the president of the company, I'm the VP. No, he wants to learn. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, take a fish and put it in a basket, and you will find him at the place where you will lose the fish. So he took a fish and put it in the basket and took his servant and took off, he and his servant. And he said to his servant, I'm going to travel, if it take me years, till I get to that place and meet that person who's more knowledgeable than me. He was so eager to learn. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَجْمَعَ بَيْنِهِمَا نَسِيَ حُوتَهُمَا فَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ سَرَبًا. So when they had reached the junction of the 2 seas, where the 2 seas connect, they forgot their fish, and it took its way into the sea, slipping away. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did. A miracle. A miracle. He has a dead fish in the basket. Allah could have made it easy. This fish will fall from the basket, will just, slip, whatever. No. He brought the fish to life, and the fish jumped and took its way to the sea. So they kept going. They didn't notice that they lost their fish. They kept going until at some point they got tired. So Sayyidina Musa said, we are tired. Why don't we sit down and get us our lunch? So the servant opened the basket and he said, قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره واتخذ سبيله في البحر عجبا. He said, did you see when we took refuge on the rock, when we stopped over there at the rock? Then I forgot the fish. And nothing made me forget to tell you about it but the shaitan. And it took its way into the sea amazingly. So 2 things. The fish brought to life, but then there is a message here that Allah is telling us. Anytime you are going to try to learn or do something that will get you closer to Allah, shaitan will be waiting for you. So shaitan wanted to distract them. They lose the fish. Maybe he's not going to come and learn more and get closer to Allah. Then I distract him. Anytime you say, I'm going to the masjid, shaitan will distract you. Oh, you remember, you're supposed to turn that report to your boss. Oh, you're supposed to do this, whatever. Always shaitan will be waiting for you whenever there is something beneficial to distract you. So Moses, when he heard that, he said, this is where we want to go. Let's retrace our footsteps, go back until we find the place where we lost the fish. So they went back to that place. فوجد عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما. Then they found one from among our servants, whom we had granted mercy from us, and whom we had taught knowledge from ourselves. Another message. Always, knowledge has to be coupled with mercy. If knowledge does not have mercy, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. Just imagine a doctor, a surgeon, who has a lot of knowledge, doesn't have mercy in his heart. So he has no problem cheating people, doing surgery for them to make money, so he can build a big building apartment, he can buy land, he can do this. No mercy. If knowledge doesn't have mercy, it's going to be a serious problem. A mechanic who's very good in his profession, but he doesn't have mercy. You go to him with your car that needs $5 repair. It's at $500. Don't drive your car. You're going to die if you drive your car. No mercy. So any beneficial knowledge that benefits human being has to have knowledge and mercy together. So that's what Al-Khidr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. He gave him knowledge and he gave him mercy. So when Musa met Al-Khidr, قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. Musa said to him, shall I follow you so that you teach me something of that right knowledge which you have been taught? Look at that. If you want knowledge, learn from Sayyidina Musa. You have to be humble. Sayyidina Musa didn't tell him, I am a prophet. Tell me what you know. No, he said, can I follow you? Look at the decency of Sayyidina Musa, the humbleness. And that's what we need when we learn from somebody. It doesn't matter, he's older than you, younger than you. Be humble. He said, can I follow you and teach me? It doesn't have to be that you don't have to be the leader. Accept and be patient and be humble. So Sayyidina Al-Khidr told him, you will not have patience with me. And how can you have patience with things you don't understand? It's difficult. You're not going to be able. So stay away from me. So Sayyidina Musa said to him, Insha'Allah, I will be patient and I will not disobey you. So learning requires patience. You want to be the best in your career, in your field? Be patient. Don't say, I want to learn everything in 2 days. Be patient. So Sayyidina Al-Khidr told him, there is only one condition if you're going to come with me. One condition. He said, قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرى. He said, if you would follow me, then do not question me about anything until I myself speak to you about it. That's the only condition. Don't keep asking me. Just follow me, observe, and when I'm ready, I'm going to tell you explanation for everything. So Sayyidina Musa took off with him. So the first thing happened, they went to the shore. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فانطلق حتى إذا ركب في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. So they went until when they were in the ship, he made a hole in it. Moses said, have you made a hole in it to drown its people? Certainly you have done a terrible thing. Sayyidina Musa and Al-Khidr, they went to the shore and there was a ship. They asked them, can we ride with you? We don't have any money. So the people who owned the ship said, come on, for free. So Sayyidina Al-Khidr, when he got on the ship and took off, he made a hole in the ship. They took them for free, and he made a hole in the ship. So Sayyidina Musa couldn't take it. He said, you're doing something bad, something terrible. Those people were generous to us, did something good, and you reward them by making a hole in their ship? So Sayyidina Al-Khidr said, did I not say that you are not going to be able to have patience with me? So Sayyidina Musa said, please forgive me, I forgot. Then they took off. فانطلق حتى إذا لقي غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. So they went until they met a boy. So Sayyidina Al-Khidr killed the boy. So Musa said, have you killed an innocent person who had killed none? Certainly you have done an evil thing. You killed a little boy. You didn't do anything. And it's fine, you killed somebody because he killed somebody as a retribution. That's fine, but he didn't do anything. You killed him. This is something evil. So Sayyidina Al-Khidr said to him, did I not say to you, last time he said, did I not say, this time he's saying, did I not say to you, not to anybody, I said it to you, that you're not going to be able to have patience with me? So Sayyidina Musa said, if I ask you about anything after that, you have an excuse to let me go. You're right. This is the third time. One more time, you can let me go. فانطلق حتى إذا آتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجد فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. So they went until they came to the people of a town. They asked them for food, but they refused to entertain them as guests. Then they found in it a wall which was on the point of falling. So he repaired it. Musa said, if you wished, surely you could have been paid for it. People were evil. He asked them for food, no food. Asked them for shelter to stay in somewhere, no, get out of here. So he rewarded the bad deed, the evil deed, by fixing a wall for them. Sayyidina Musa, of course, he's like us, can't take it. So he said, you did something bad. How can you're supposed to be paid for it. They were evil. How can you do something for free for them? You should charge them money. Those are evil people. So Sayyidina Khidr said, قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. He said, this shall be separation between me and you. That's it. You're not going to continue with me. Now I will inform you of the interpretation of that with which you could not have patience. He couldn't have patience. He said, now I'm going to explain to you everything because you're not coming with me anymore. It's over. Then he started with the first one. He said, أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر فأردت أن أعيبها وكان وراءهم ملك يأخذ كل سفينة غصبا. As for the ship, it belonged to poor people working in the sea. So I wished to damage it. And there was behind them a king who seized every ship by force. So what he's telling him, those people were poor people. They were living, surviving from the income they're getting from that ship, carrying people and transferring things. And they were poor. And the ship was going to stop at a country, at a place where there is an evil king. And that king, every time he sees a good ship, he takes it from the people. Either throw them in jail, kill them, but he takes the ship. So I made a hole in it. So when the people of the king come and inspect the ship, they're going to see it's damaged. So they're going to say, leave it. So he did a favor for them. Sayyidina Musa saw it as an evil act. But there is a couple of things that we have to learn from here. Allah is telling us those were poor people that owned that ship. So Allah is telling us there is no reason if you're poor not to be generous. Those people took them free. They are poor. They said, no, we cannot afford it. We need money. We're struggling. but they took them for free. So being poor is not an excuse for not being generous. If you have $2, you can be generous. If you have no money, you can be generous with your health, with your muscles, with your knowledge. You can be generous. There is no excuse for not being generous. That's what Allah is telling us. And that we have to look at things not the way they look. Sometimes things look bad. He made a hole in the ship, but you don't know. Maybe that's something good. You lost your job, but you don't know. Maybe that's something good. So you can go and look for another job because you were sitting comfortable in your company, happy with what you're doing, 8 to 5, all of that. Allah wanted you to go somewhere better. And you were not going to go on your own. So He gets you fired. Then you go and you get something good. But when you get fired, you say, why me, Allah? I was praying, I was doing salah, why me? Because He wants something better for you. And then the next one, He said, وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامُ فَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ فَخَشِينَ أَنْ يُرْهِقَهُمَا طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا فَأَرَدْنَا أَنْ يُبْدِلَهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا خَيْرًا مِنْهُ زَكَاةً وَأَقْرَبَ رُحْمًا. And as for the boy, his parents were believers. His parents were believers. And we feared that he should oppress them by rebellion and disbelief. So we intended that their Lord should change him for them for one better in righteousness and nearer to mercy. So what Allah is saying, two things. Number one, parents were good Muslims. That's number one. And then that the child is going to grow up to be an evil person. And he's going to make their life miserable. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did, He made them kill him. Because He's going to give them a child which is a good and excellent child that will take care of them. Somebody may think, say, but why kill the child? Why kill the boy? If you look at it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if this boy grew up, he would have gone to hellfire. Because he's going to be an evil. But in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, any child that dies before the age of puberty goes to paradise. Because at the age of puberty, then you start to be accountable for your action. Before that, you go to paradise. So Allah did a favor to that boy by making him die before puberty, because he's going directly to paradise. And then He did a favor to his parents, because he was going to make their life miserable, and they are good Muslims. So in reality, his death was a benefit to the child, to his parents, and to society, because he's going to drive society crazy with all the crimes he's going to commit. Now the last story, the last part. وأما الجدار فكان لغلامين يتيمين في المدينة وكان تحته كنز لهما وكان أبوهما صالحا فأراد ربك أن يبلغ أشدهما ويستخرج كنزهما رحمة من ربك وما فعلته عن أمري ذلك تأويل ما لم تسطع عليه صبرا. And as for the wall, it belonged to two orphan boys in the town, and there was under it a treasure belonging to them. And their father was a righteous man, and your Lord intended they should attain their age of full strength and take out their treasure as a mercy from your Lord. And I did not do it of my own accord. That is the interpretation of those things over which you could not have patience. In this story, there is a few things. The one of the boy that was killed, the parents were good. In this one, the father was good. So what it's telling us, if only one of the parents is good, it's going to benefit the children. Not only it's going to benefit you, but it's going to benefit your children. Their father was a righteous person. And then you look at it and say, people like living in the village, look at that man, he was a righteous person, he was a good Muslim. And look at his children now. They are poor, they can't afford anything, they are orphans, they have nothing. Allah didn't get them to find that treasure. He wanted to delay it, because He knew that village are evil people. And if those little kids find that treasure, The village are going to take it from them, the evil people. So what did he do? Sayyidina Al-Khidr built the wall so it doesn't fall apart and the people find the treasure until those boys become men and strong and they get out their treasure and nobody can take it from them. So sometimes we see, wait a minute, I was a good Muslim, why this happened to me? There is timing for everything. A part of the wisdom of Allah is the time when things happen. If those kids, the treasure was out, they would have lost it. But until they became strong and they can defend their treasure, then they found it. And then he's telling Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Khidr telling Sayyidina Musa, I did not do all of that because I'm smart. It's Allah's wisdom. So learn Sayyidina Musa, Allah is the most knowledgeable and He knows everything. So brothers and sisters, from that story, we learn, you want to protect your children? Be a good Muslim. Some people think, I'm going to leave them $1 million. Doesn't matter. You give them $1 million. I read a story about a person who collected his money in any fashion, anyway, stealing, cheating, whatever. He collected that money and left for his son $50 million. I think there is nothing better than that. $50 million, you know, you need a whole lifetime to spend it. His son wasted the money and in less than 10 years filed for bankruptcy. $50 million. So what counts is do the good deed. Be a good Muslim. You leave your children $5,000, Allah was going to make them survive and be happy with $5,000. You give them 100, it doesn't matter. But the key thing, be a good Muslim, and Allah will protect your children. Not your money. Your money will not protect them, but your good deeds will protect them. If you listen at those three stories, it covers three things that every human being is worried about. We're worried about our rizq, our livelihood, sustenance, which is the ship, the people, their sustenance and their survival. We're worried about losing loved ones. They lost a child. And we're worried about what will happen to our children. If I die, what's going to happen to them? Allah covered all three of them. And the conclusion is, be a good Muslim. I'll take care of everything. And the other thing we learn from those stories is things are not what they appear to be. Every time we see things, we jump to conclusions. Don't rush in judging people or events based on what appears to be in front of you. Our human knowledge will never understand the ways or reason for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing. Never. A lot of time we see things that are happening, natural disasters. You hear about what happened in Puerto Rico. Destruction, everything destroyed. Why? You hear about a Muslim country, Somalia. They are Muslims and they are poor. And there is drought and they die. We don't have the wisdom. We don't have the understanding. We cannot understand the wisdom of Allah. But Allah has a wisdom in everything He does. And we as human beings will always want immediate answer for everything we see. Why this hurricane happened? Why this famine happened? Why this drought happened? It doesn't work that way. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has answer. And we may live to see the answer, we may not live to see the answer. But there is a wisdom behind everything. And you never know, remember from those stories, you never know when problems in your life could actually be a source of good for you in the future. Sometimes we see something bad happening to us. We suffer from something. I was sick. I lost my job. We had a divorce, whatever. You never know. Maybe you had a divorce because your life, you and your spouse were miserable, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you a better spouse that will love you, will take care of you. But at the time, you feel everything is ending. Why is this happening? Why I got sick? And look back. Some of you look back. You're going to find that many times when things were really bad, after that things became great and things were wonderful and you got some breaks. Think back and look at it. The conclusion of these stories is that the damage to the boat, the killing of the boy, and the delay of wealth to the orphans were all act of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were not a punishment from Allah or anger from Allah. They were acts of mercy. So brothers and sisters, have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe that everything He does to us is based on wisdom, mercy, and will benefit us, but we may not understand it right now.